Who is Anjana Rani? अच्छा ऑन यूट्यूब पे देखिए फिर वहाँ पे यूट्यूब लिंक आ रहा होगा है ना ठीक है ऑन यूट्यूब पे क्लिक करता हूँ
कौन है अंजना रानी? मतलब किसी ने और किसी के लैपटॉप से ज्वाइन करा है? ठीक है, आई थिंक अंकल।
Hello, hello.
या यस मैम।
Hello, yes, ma'am. My name is Anjana Rani.
मैम, हु गेव यू द लिंक टू ज्वाइन?
मैम कोई लिंक नहीं, आपके जो ईमेल है ना मैम, मुझे उससे आया कि ज्वाइन ज्वाइन दिस मीटिंग, और मैंने उस लिंक से ज्वाइन किया इसको। मैम एक्चुअली मैं कल से ट्राई कर रही हूँ फॉर एनरोलमेंट, वो मेरा हो नहीं पा रहा है।
मैम ये बाद में बात करेंगे, बट आई एम नॉट वेरी श्योर। ठीक है, वी विल टॉक अबाउट
मैम
दैट
आप
लेटर।
अंजना मैम आप YouTube लिंक से ज्वाइन करना है क्योंकि YouTube लिंक अभी आपको दे रहे हैं सो यू हैव टू ज्वाइन थ्रू दैट लिंक ओके
बट
मैम
सर मेरा कोर्स ही एनरोल नहीं हो पा रहा है।
कोर्स मैम एनरोल हो जाएगा आफ्टर इनॉग्रल सो डोंट वरी
Okay,
ओके
sir. Okay.
या
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah, excuse me, sir. Same in my case. I can't enroll myself also.
yeah it will be done after inaugural ma'am so don't worry please attend the
Yeah, yeah.
inaugural through the YouTube link yeah okay
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, sir.
Anjana ma'am and Dr. Stanson, I think you can leave the meeting and you can join through the YouTube link which has been posted on the Telegram group.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you.
Link is posted on the Telegram group.
The question is, how was the link sent to them? Akhil?
Ma'am, we'll just stop the recording once and then we can.
See, there are more people joining, no? Alam Singh Goodway is joining, see.
yes ma'am link YouTube link सोनिया मैम ने शेयर कर दिया
No, ma'am is asking that why is Zoom link being shared?
पता नहीं मैम मैंने तो शेयर नहीं किया आई डोंट नो हाउ इट इज बीइंग वो उन्हें कैसे मिला
There is Prashant and
before there is Dr. Kalam Singh joining also.
yeah.
So
Okay.
link तो गया है बेटा, पता करो ये क्या चीज हुआ है.
और अखिल ये ना मतलब you just take the.
Good morning sir. Good morning sir.
Good morning sir.
Good morning ma'am. Good morning.
And Akhil please take the.
सर से पूछ लें एक बार.
हाँ सर को मैसेज कर देते हैं.
Just 2 minutes, sir. I think sir must be joining.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. How are you, sir?
I'm good, ma'am.
Yeah. वहां से कौन है? अखिल, ये
यस
आईटी
मैम।
कौन संभाल रहा है? आईटी कौन संभाल रहा है?
मैम रवि सर हैं, मतलब अभी
हाँ,
नहीं है
रवि
बट
सर।
रवि सर इस
हाँ,
जी।
तो अलाउ ना करें बेटा औरों को।
हाँ जी मैम, ठीक है।
Good morning, sir. How are you, sir?
गुड मॉर्निंग सर। कट गया सर का।
गुड मॉर्निंग संजीव जी, वेलकम। गुड मॉर्निंग।
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
कैसे हैं सर?
बस ठीक है सर, ठीक है।
गुड
बहुत
मॉर्निंग।
बहुत गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन। सॉरी, मैं गलती से ना वो मीटिंग लीव कर दी बीच में।
अच्छा
वो आया ना रिकॉर्डिंग, यू नो,
अच्छा अच्छा,
उसमें आया कि
नॉट एक्सेप्ट किया तो चला गया।
वी आर रेडी टू
Now we are live, sir. Now we are live. We can start as soon as you are ready, sir.
आई थिंक वी आर रेडी।
Yeah.
थोड़ा और 2 मिनट सब पार्टिसिपेंट्स को देख लो कितना।
पारुल, उसमें देख लो YouTube में कितने लोग हैं। Some have joined. It means they have the link.
Yes.
Ma'am, around 94 people have joined. Okay. On YouTube.
Okay.
पार्टिसिपेंट तो 500 से ज्यादा है भाई।
सर लिंक अभी देते हैं ना सर लाइव करने का।
अच्छा, ओके ओके, तो दे विल बी ज्वाइनिंग। Two more minutes and then we will start.
Yes, sir.
Do you want to give few minutes for question answer or?
As you say, sir.
No, I mean.
नहीं, we cannot we can have them to ask directly. हम उसमें से questions उठा सकते हैं।
हाँ, तो आप पहले मैसेज कर दीजिए कि we will take a few questions and they can put in the chat box because we will request each speaker to keep about 5 to 10 minutes for question answer. Okay.
Sonia, maybe you can do this on the chat box itself. Sonia.
Yes, ma'am.
I think let us start.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Parul, are you ready?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Good morning to one and all present here today. Respected Principal, Professor S.P. Agarwal, Chief Guest, CA Dr. Sanjeev Singhal, sir, Program Director, Professor Kelata, and dear participants, I, Parul Yadav, on behalf of Ramanujan College, welcome you all to this online 2-week refresher program in Commerce and Management. Ramanujan College is a University of Delhi college running 16 courses in different subjects in humanities, commerce, and science streams. It is also the study center for Non-Collegiate Women's Education Board, University of Delhi, Indira Gandhi National Open University, and along with that, it runs several professional courses. Ramanujan College is a premier institution of University of Delhi and has been accredited grade A++ by National Assessment and Accreditation Council (NAAC). We at Ramanujan College emphasize the holistic development of personality, meaningful exposure to real world, and inculcating practical skills amongst the students, apart from ensuring academic excellence. This refresher program is being organized by Teaching Learning Center Ramanujan College. The main objective of the mission, which is Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission for Teachers and Teaching, is to facilitate teacher training by constituting teaching learning centers in various institutions of higher education in our country. The Teaching Learning Center at Ramanujan College offers various faculty induction programs, faculty development programs, refresher programs for teachers with experience, as well as newly recruited faculty who wish to update their field of knowledge, expertise, and skill with the latest available research, resources, and technology. Keeping in view the immense benefits and reach of online courses in the present academic setup, the Teaching Learning Center Ramanujan College is offering this 2-week online refresher program in commerce and management for faculty members, research scholars, and other academicians of higher education in the country. We are indeed honored to have with us, CA Dr. Sanjeev Singhal as our chief guest. Sir has found time for us, and we are thankful to you, sir. Before I introduce sir, I would, request our principal, Professor S.P. Agarwal, to address the participants.
Thank you, Parul. Good morning and welcome to all our dignitaries and participants, colleagues, and organizing team members. Our chief guest today, none other than our own Dr. Sanjeev Singhal, who is partner at SR Botley Boy, as well as Chairman Auditing and Assurance Standards Board, ICAI, Chairman Sustainability Reporting Standards Board, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He is not only an academician, but a thorough professional and has varied experience, both in academics and profession. Our keynote speaker would be joining us a little late, Professor Dr. Mayank Dondial, who is a professor and dean, Jindal Global Business School, OP Jindal Global University. Our program director, my colleague, Dr. Lata, Sonia, Parul, all team members and participants. Once again, welcome on behalf of Teaching Learning Center, Ramanujan College, to this 2-week online refresher course in commerce and management. Friends, let me tell you that the topic of the program is quite broad, but our objective is, very simple, that we want to discuss the new developments and contemporary research in commerce and management, taxation laws, GST, IFRS, fintech, financial modeling, so entrepreneurship, business ethics. So these are our broad topics, which we have decided, but we have left it to the experts to discuss, few of the recent things in their domain. That is why we have combined, professionals, industrialists, academicians, in order to make this program meaningful for teaching fraternity. Because ultimately, as Parul said, the objective is, that the teachers should be able to take this knowledge to their classrooms in terms of pedagogy and research. These are the two main things. And another important thing, as this mission of Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission, the mission is to reach everyone in the country. And with that objective, all of you will be glad to know that we have already reached 150,000 teachers, more than rather 150,000 teachers in the country. And our objective is derived from, the Ramanujan philosophy of excellence in every field. And in this program also, you can see the credibility of the program, that more than 500 teachers have joined this program from all over the country, from each and every part of the country, state, and small places. So that clearly motivates us to do much better and to make it more user friendly in terms of quality, excellence, and learning to each one of us, because the learning is always two-way. You are not only learning, we are also learning out of this. So now the question arises is that, when we talk of these refresher courses, or we talk of these orientation courses for each one of us, I mean, there are various categories of faculties, which join these programs. Some of them join for their promotion, academic promotion. Another one, for learning itself, because so large number cannot join only for promotion. It is for learning. So the basic thing which I would like to emphasize here once again, that let us, listen to the experts very carefully, because they will be talking about the recent developments in the area, whether in terms of technology in finance, or whether in terms of other techniques, which are available to all of us. Maybe Dr. Sanjeev Singhal may also touch upon sustainability reporting, because he is a chairman there. Now, you all know that today sustainability is the key, whether it is in environment, economics, any other field. Today in accounting, also the sustainability talk is going on. So, friends, not only you will learn out of it, but what our objective is that you must practice it. Only then there is a benefit. And you must attempt your all, the assignments, the MCQs in time, so that certification can be easily given. So with this, once again, I welcome each one of you to this program, and we would listen to the experts this morning, and then the program will get its shape. Thank you very much. Over to Parul. Parul, आप म्यूट है Parul.
Muted Parul.
I'm so sorry. Thank you so much, sir. I'm sure by the end of the program, all the participants will gain out of it, and there would be a lot of value addition. Moving over, we are joined by our chief guest today, CA Dr. Sanjeev Singhal. Sir is a partner in assurance practice with SR Bartley Boy and Company LLP, handling financial accounting advisory services and audit practice. Sir is also a chairman of Auditing and Assurance Standards Board, ICAI, and chairman Sustainable Reporting Standards Board, ICAI. Sir has worked on wide spectrum of finance functions, including accounting, reporting, compliances, taxation, and treasury with renowned companies like SIDBI, Religare, Jubilant Life Sciences, to name a few. Sir was also the associate professor at the Ford School of Management and IP University. Dr. Singhal has worked closely with various industry associations like CII, FICCI, as well as accounting regulators, MCA, ICAI, NACAS, etc. As a government nominee at NCAS, he has worked towards the development of quality accounting standards and implementation guides while ensuring that the industry interest is duly protected. He has headed a CII task force on accounting auditing standards and have worked with public sectors on joint projects for development of content of professional interest. We welcome you, sir. Indeed, it's a privilege and we are honored to have you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Parul, Dr. S.P. Agarwal, the most respected principal of the Ramanujan College, a visionary and a person who has transformed the college. The NAC A++ rating is a testimony to the fact that what Ramanujan College has achieved under his leadership. In fact, this is higher than my own alma mater, Shri Ram College of Commerce. And sir, I'm happy. I'm happy not because the score is higher, but because I'm associated with Ramanujan College also. So it is a win-win situation for me. In both the cases, I'm an alumnus of Shri Ram College of Commerce and a part of Ramanujan College. So it's a happy occasion. Professor K. Lata and all the respected participants. Thank you very much for inviting me to speak in the inaugural session of this very, very important program. When I was looking at the content, I'm so happy that we are talking about a refresher course in commerce and management for 2 weeks. Normally, a refresher course means that the things will be refreshed. However, what we need to do is we need to set the clock again. And why we need to set the clock again? Because it's a time for a zero-based budgeting. In finance, we read about zero-based budgeting. For our teaching also, it's a time for zero-based budgeting. Things are changing, and things are changing so fast that the traditional methods of teaching needs to change. The traditional laws have undergone a change. If you look at the speed at which the government works these days, is amazing. And today we have some of the initiatives which you would have never thought of. For example, Arogya Setu app. Arogya Setu app, no other country has been able to build, and every country is buying the technology from us. So can we afford just to continue teaching what we were teaching? The answer is clearly no. So that's if you look at the theme of the refresher course, talks about current advances in business research. So one is that research needs to be business oriented. Of course, you can have research focused on other aspects also, but we need to have a holistic review of the objectives of the research. That is it going to be one more research paper, or is it going to be something which is path breaking? And when I say a path breaking, think when COVID has come, if no scientist would have done an out of the box thinking, we would not have got the COVID vaccine. Similarly, when we are doing a research, keep the society in mind, keep the well-being of the people in mind, keep the health of the businesses in mind, and do a research from that perspective. It should not be another hypothesis, another t-test, or a correlation or a regression just for the sake of doing it. Can we think, say, for example, how green finance reduces the cost of capital for the company? Can we think of how sustainability improves the profits of a company? We may say that there'll be a carbon pricing and the cost will increase. However, we need to look it from a different angle. Similarly, when we talk about an updates on taxation laws and regulation, of course, here is a topic which would require you to be updated, because this is a policy matter and we need to understand what is changing. When I was a student at the Shri Ram College of Commerce, when Dr. Vinod Singhania used to teach me, so if you really look at the approach of the taxation laws, there is a famous case which talks about a tax avoidance and tax planning. So while I'll say that here it's only an update on taxation laws, but here also the thinking of the government is changing. What used to be treated as tax planning earlier may also be read as tax evasion if it defeats the spirit of the law, if it is not in accordance with the intention of the law, and then even if it is not mentioned in black and white, then you will still need to think. And ethical thinking is required in the study of the taxation laws as well. Today, the spirit of nationalism in the country is at its peak, or I'll say has grown up so much that ethics play a very, very important role. So when you teach taxation laws, kindly also tell what is the intention of the law. When a finance bill is introduced, the memorandum explaining the clauses and the reasons for changes are given. We should focus on those objectives as well and see that are we doing something which is against the intention of the law. Then another topic is recent developments in accounting and IFRS. This is my topic, if you really see so. I specialize in IFRS, in sustainability, in auditing. Now, IFRS has been implemented in India under the name of Ind AS. There are 7 carve-outs that we have made. In fact, on 23rd of this May, I was in London at the International Accounting Standard Board, and we were discussing the International Sustainability Standard Board, which has been set up in the same premises under ISSB. Now, IFRS, I'll say now they are at a state where almost the whole world is using IFRS. These are considered as high quality financial reporting standard. But normally what I've seen is that in our universities, what we teach is accounting standard and the knowledge of IFRS is very basic. The reason may be that IFRS are slightly difficult to understand, but here also Ramanujan College has done many full diploma courses on IFRS. As faculty, we'll be doing a great service to the academia if we really master these IFRS and teach our students accordingly. In fact, for that matter, the syllabus also needs to undergo a change. And I've also found that even when accounting standards are taught, the intensity at which they should be taught is not that much, because a practical exposure to the accounting standard to the faculty is somewhere missing. That connect is missing. The reading of the financial statements, the annual reports, and doing a financial analysis on the basis of accounting standard and IFRS needs to be done first for the faculty, and then the faculty should do it for the students. It will be good to adopt the case study method of teaching. I was listening to Professor Shrikant Datar, the Dean of the Harvard Business School. Look what they're talking about. They're talking about 100 years of case study teaching at Harvard Business School. 100 years that case-based teaching is prevalent in Harvard. And whereas if you'll find in our universities and in our management school, except for the top maybe 15-20 management schools, that case study-based teaching is not there. Probably it's time that we have at least one paper in one semester whereby case study-based teaching is there, or at least 10% of our syllabus of each paper is taught in a manner which is a case-based teaching. And you'll be proud to know that Professor Shrikant Datar is from India and is a chartered accountant as well. So he belongs to my fraternity. And we are talking about research paper publication process in business research, which is good actually. Then impact of ICT on commerce and e-commerce. Now, ICT is a term which we are using when I was in cyber media in 2006 to 2009. That time, ICT word was being used. So it's 15 years. So if you're talking now, impact of ICT, actually, probably it has come and it has gone also, because now it has become business as usual. So if we are not up to the mark, if we are not up to the pace, we must understand the impact of the ICT. And what is the impact? It is phenomenal. When you really see the impact, the whole things, the way an audit is done has undergone a change. It's entirely a digital audit. The way a stock verification is done, drones are doing the stock verification. The way the barcoding is done, you scan a barcode and you will get to know. The way the QR code works, I remember the instance when this RT-PCR testing made mandatory. Some people start using a fake certificates. Now this QR code scanning is in place. So if it's a fake certificate, the QR code will not be, the genuine one, and a person will be caught. If you talk of e-commerce, look at the scale at which Amazon, Flipkart operates. Look at the way they have transformed the world. I have heard 10 years ago that whatever can be sold online will be sold online. And today is the case. Today, phones, I mean, I would have purchased 4 or 5 phones in last 10 years online. TVs, fridge, every possible thing. And tomorrow you will find even cars are being sold through Amazon and Flipkart and many other e-commerce platforms. Today, education, if you really see Byju's or others, look at the kind of valuation which they have built up. So e-commerce is I'll not say is the future, it is the present, and certainly is the future. This very fantastic building of Ramanujan College, maybe in future you'll find that 50% of this building is doing only online teaching, and it was done in COVID. In fact, it was done in COVID, and hats off to Ramanujan College that not even a single teaching day was lost. Then when we talk about financial modeling in business, of course, this is an old area, financial modeling. But what is important is good hand on Excel. Today, Excel, we don't use even 1% of Excel. When I see CA Vijay Agarwal, who's an Excel expert, he uses Excel. He's a master in Excel. And there have been many sessions at Ramanujan College for Vijay Agarwalji also. He teaches what real financial modeling is. Excel dances to the tune of CA Vijay Agarwal. And when you realize the potential of Excel, because unless you know Excel, financial modeling can't be done unless you have softwares for that. And financial modeling is what? It's a scenario analysis. What kind of scenarios? For example, if you do A, then this will happen. If you do B, then this will happen. You need to build sensitivity analysis. For example, in capital budgeting, we talk about sensitivity analysis. That, say, for example, if the inflation goes up by 5%, then what happens what's the impact on the wages and salaries? If the raw material prices increases by 20% and you're not able to pass on the full increase to the customer, then what happens? If interest cost rises, what happens? So then you build various case analysis and do a pessimistic view, a normal view, and an aggressive scenario, and assign weights to those. Say 30%, 20%, 50%, or maybe 50% to normal, 30% to conservative, 20% to aggressive, and find the expected value, the weighted average you find and arrive at. So this financial modeling is a subject which even incorporates, like in BHEL, once I've taken a full day training on financial modeling, one case study is taken and which 15, 20, 25 scenarios are built in. So all of you are commerce teachers, so you understand scenario analysis. So financial modeling also, if it is done with real life example and with good expertise in Excel, is very, very useful. Then it will be also talking about new avenues of research in management disciplines. Now, of course, the new avenues of research are plenty, as Dr. Agarwal also mentioned. Sustainability is an area. Similarly, technology, digital, and then how to use management for the society while retaining the objective of profit. Now we talk about the triple bottom line. We talk about people, profit, and planet. That how do we take care of planet? See, when I was in London this week earlier, even a taxi driver talks about carbon neutrality. That this car ride was carbon neutral. Now, how do they do it? They will build in the price of carbon offset of the carbon emission generated by your travel. So either you take an electric car, or if you're taking a petrol car or a CNG car, then they will add, right now they say optional, that you want to make your ride carbon neutral. In future, it will be mandatory. Institute of Chartered Accountant of England and Wales has already become carbon neutral. They had a 3,366 tons of carbon emission. So they purchased the offsets. What they did is they tied up with a company who's planting those trees and maintaining for a particular time period. And then those offsets they're paid for that. So 20 kg carbon emission is offset by one tree in 1 year. But then greenwashing should not happen in this case. Now, what will greenwashing mean? That you have said that you have purchased it, you have actually purchased it also, but that the agency is not maintaining it, maintaining the tree, or selling the same tree to 10 other people. So that kind of a greenwashing is to be reduced or is to be eliminated. Similarly, there's a concept of circular economy. See, now earlier when you buy a used item, a used car or a used mobile, probably it uses to be treated as a stigma. Oh, he may not have money, that's why he has taken the second hand. But when I was riding in Tube in London, everywhere it's mentioned, do you know one recycled mobile saves 68,500 liters of water? I was also surprised that how can one mobile which is recycled can save 68,500 liters of water. Probably the whole process of making it, the components that a mobile uses, and the manufacturing of those components takes that much of water or equivalent of water by consuming the resources. So you will find this thing going up in future. So I mean, there are plethora of topics, new avenues of research in management discipline. You should also study the behaviors. I mean, behavioral theory also, of course, the behavior of people will not change, but generations change. And when generations change, the behavior changes. Earlier, we were told conserve money. Now people are told increase your income. That is another way of looking at it. So that is how the growth happens. Then we are talking about case study methods in the pedagogy. Yes, of course, pedagogy. I am a firm believer of the case study method. It should be a real case study method. One case study should take at least 3 hours. And of course, there is a good bank of case studies available in IIMs and Harvard and Ramanujan College. I'm sure that would have access to some of the best case studies. If not, Dr. Agarwal is always willing to make that investment. So one should pick up the cases. And before that, the faculty should also be taught on the case-based teaching. And this program will address that requirement to an extent. So this is very, very important because a case-based method, these case studies are written based on the practical thing. See, it should not be like you convert an exam question into a case study. No, this is not a case study. Case study at Harvard or IIMs is treated as equivalent to one paper taught, one paper. So they actually go to that company and then study the facts and then develop the case and then come to a solution. And at times these faculties are paid very, very handsomely by those companies because they also provide a solution of the fact pattern which they have analyzed. So this is how case study works in good management schools. Entrepreneurship and skill enhancement. Yes, its time has come that we inculcate the habit of entrepreneurship, or we encourage our students to become entrepreneurs. And the subject should the subject should be such that will. So it's not, an entrepreneurship is not simply teaching in the classes. It's about the habits. It's about the direction that we give to our people, that why entrepreneurship is important. And this is really a new subject and should be taught. Business ethics. Now, in the era in which we are in India today, the government and our Honorable Prime Minister is talking about ethics, ethics, and ethics. And rightly so. We need to build a culture of nationalism. Learn from the Japanese. The kind of nationalism which is there is amazing. And nationalism will bring in ethics, or ethics will bring in nationalism. Our each action should lead us to a thinking that how it will benefit my country. Am I ethical? Am I serving my profession? Am I serving my country? So if I have to teach, say, for these many hours, am I really teaching, or I'm just passing my time? If I'm a student, am I really studying? Now one can say, if I don't study, I'll repent. No, the government is spending so much of money. When you study at the Delhi University, what you pay and what is the expenditure of the government, we can't even think of, or if we can think of by comparing it with a private college education. For example, Ashoka University charges 12 lakh rupees a year. And how much do we pay at Delhi University? So that is the differential that the country is spending on us. Think of IIT education, how much country is spending on us. So ethics are the most important. Out of all these topics, if I have to pick up one topic, it is ethics. If you are selling some goods to a consumer, then it has to be ethical practices, that I give the right quality, I charge the right prices. If I don't do that, I'll be out of my business. And then, of course, the new education policy. Now I am no longer an academician, so probably new education policy will be taught by the relevant experts. So, friends, I've just touched upon each of the line item of the broad themes of the contents. I've been myself a professor for 4 years, so teaching is in my blood. My father was a principal. My wife has been a teacher, so teaching always attracts me. And that is why, whenever Dr. S.P. Agarwal or Dr. J.L. Gupta invites me, I happily accept it. Yes, at times I take the sessions while on road, while traveling. So the same thing I'm doing right now also, as we're wearing a face mask. But thank you so much. It was, initially I did not know that what I will talk, but then I thought that let me pick up each line item and speak maybe one to two lines or spend one minute on each of these topics. So thank you very much to the Ramanujan College, and thanks to all of you for giving a very patient hearing. And I wish you the very best. And I'm sure that the objective of the program will be met in its true sense in building a stronger nation. Let us link everything to building a stronger nation. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sanjeev. I think you have set the tone of the program, because you have touched upon each and every topic and the new developments in that area. And I think that was the key, because all of us need to understand that what new is going on and how we should learn and apply that. That is very important. And also you touched, each and every aspect with the national pride, as well as with the ethics, with the sustainability, with the service to the society. So thank you very much. Over to Parul.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, you've rightly mentioned that accounting and taxations is no longer, restricted to numbers and calculations, but we have to take into account the broader aspects of sustainability and ethics and, good practices, and then only we can be successful. So thank you once again, Dr. Sanjeev Singhal, for joining us today. We've also been joined by our keynote speaker, Professor Mayank Donial. We welcome you, sir. Sir, if you allow me, we've got, I think, few questions for Dr. Sanjeev Singhal. And
Yeah,
sir,
sure.
Go ahead. Yes. Sonia will take up.
Sonia, can you post the questions in the chat box?
Or she can speak and then,
I find both ways. You can put it in chat box or you can ask.
Okay, so we've got one question, that what are the research domains that we can explore in the context of IFRS?
So many. What is the impact of IFRS on cost of capital? What is the impact of IFRS on quality of financial reporting? And also, the ultimately is one can study all the very, very difficult, the subjectivity of which is there, how far these come true, or whether these are leading to creative accounting, because there are so many fair value that you have to exercise, and then so many places judgments are involved. So whether these are giving some scope of manipulation or something like that. And IFRS, there's a lot to study, because not much research has gone. So one can do the impact of fair valuation also in IFRS. There are many areas which one can do. Impact on market capitalization.
Thank you, sir. Sir, there's another question, that how can accounting good practices be used in academic institutions? So primarily, I think the participant is trying to understand that in MNCs, accounting practices or ethical practices are of much importance rather than in academic institutions.
No, academic institution is the foundation. For example, what you teach to a toddler in nursery, pre-nursery and school will remain with him forever. Similarly, when we talk about academic institutions, particularly undergraduate courses, that builds the foundation for a strong entrepreneurship or a businessman or an employee who will be working there. So if we teach ethics in accounting practices and accounting policies also, there are alternative policies. If we go to the right policy, for example, there is straight line method of depreciation and WDV method of depreciation. But what is the correct charge to a P&L actually comes out of a WDV method, because initially the depreciation on the machinery will be higher. So I mean, it is certainly accounting also needs to be ethical, and the day it happens, the creativity in accounting will go down, and we should certainly teach this at the academic institutions.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, I think those were the questions.
Thank you.
Thank you once again, sir, for joining us.
Thank you, Sanjeev ji. Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
We move on now to our keynote address. We've been joined by Professor Mayank Dondial. Dr. Mayank is the Dean of Jindal Global Business School at OP Jindal Global University, which is an institute of eminence here in India. Sir has worked with premier universities in India and abroad, including Shiv Nadu University, India, Bennett University, India, Technological University, Dublin, Ireland. Sir's research interests are in the areas of strategic alliances, resource-based and dynamic capability view, and firm-level capability development. His work in these areas have been published in multiple international peer-reviewed ABDC, ABS ranked journals. Sir also holds certifications in various domains from top universities and institutes globally, including the University of Manchester, University College Dublin, Northern Illinois University, USA, to name a few. He has also developed and delivered numerous training programs for mid to senior level managers, faculty, and staff members. Sir is an exceptional teacher and is a firm believer in the Socratic and learning by doing methods, and employs them extensively to consistently achieve and exceed the learning objectives in his courses. Sir is an accomplished institutional builder and has worked and contributed towards building strong, robust, and internationally benchmarked internal systems and processes as part of his previous assignments. Dr. Mayank frequently writes articles and opinion pieces on contemporary international and national issues, and his work has been published in leading English dailies, including the Times of India, Economic Times, and the Deccan Herald. He also regularly speaks at national and international conferences, seminars, and panel discussions. He has a keen interest in the entrepreneurship and startup ecosystem in India, and he is also an advisor of few startups in India. We welcome you, sir. It's a privilege to have you with us. And without much ado, I would hand over the charge to you for the keynote address.
Thank you very much, Ms. Parul. Just a quick audio check. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. So, namaste to everyone attending this session. My name is Mayank Dondial, and I'm the Professor of Strategy and Dean at Jindal Global Business School at OP Jindal Global University. So I do not have a commerce and finance background, but I'm sure our other experts can shed more light on, those particular issues. I would like to, start by thanking Professor S.P. Agarwal, who's the, principal of Ramanujan College, a distinguished academic, and of course, all the, esteemed faculty and staff members of Ramanujan College for inviting me for this keynote address as part of this online 2-week refresher course in commerce and management organized by the Teaching Learning Center at Ramanujan College, University of Delhi. Ramanujan College, of course, is an institution that has evolved now to become one of the most well-known colleges of the University of Delhi. So I must congratulate, Professor Agarwal ji, and of course all the, distinguished faculty and staff members of Ramanujan College for doing this institutional, development work, at the college. I'm of course a member of OP Jindal Global University. Now started in 2009. OP Jindal Global University, popularly known as JGU, is India's #1 ranked private university with a 1:9 faculty-student ratio, more than 900 globally qualified and internationally recognized faculty members, more than 8,000 students from across India and different parts of the world, more than 50 world-class academic programs. JGU is also the only Indian private university in the top 150 young universities in the world, as per the acclaimed QS World University rankings. GGBS, Jindal Global Business School, of which I'm the dean, is the second largest school of JGU and is India's premier research-driven school with a faculty base of around 100 full-time faculty members, 1,500 students. JGBS runs 11 different programs. I'm happy to note that in terms of research, academic collaborations, international partnerships, the kind of programs that we run, JGBS is making rapid strides towards excellence. In fact, I'm happy to note that if you look at the research output in the last academic year, 2021, JGBS faculty members published 162 Scopus Index papers with a very healthy 40% in the ABDC A and A star rank journals. And if you do a quick comparison with, let's say, the management domain, if you look at the 20 IIMs in the country, we were at #3 after IIM Ahmedabad and IIM Lucknow. And we were ahead of many of the top names in private management institutes also. So that was a quick introduction. Now, I'm of course happy to note that Ramanujan College at Delhi University is making concerted efforts towards these quality, capacity building programs for faculty members. This is excellent. I think these kind of refresher programs are extremely important to make sure that the faculty members are up to date with the latest tools and techniques, with the latest know-how, enabling them to deliver quality content inside the classroom. So I must congratulate again, Professor Agarwal, of course, all the faculty members and staff members of Ramanujan College for these efforts towards these, capacity building programs. Now, these kind of programs also assume significance because of the fact that if you look at the education sector, especially the higher education sector, I would say. Now, what we are witnessing, is a paradigm shift that spans geography, that spans various, functional areas, of course, languages. And, it's important to understand this paradigm shift because, we as educators have a very high stake, in the changes that are happening because, it directly relates to how effective we are in terms of our overall, objectives of delivering a quality education. Now, the first aspect, perhaps the most important aspect of this change relates to technology. Now, as we all know, that technology is becoming more and more mainstream, and there has been a gradual transition from what I would say is information scarcity to information abundance, right? So content is available everywhere. I mean, if you look at the MOOC platforms, even YouTube for that matter, there are a number of private players in India, abroad, who are looking to get a share of this, education sector, trying to give them the same experience, to students. So, what it essentially means is that the content is available, right? And as educational institutions, we need to understand, why, what's the need of students to come to us. As faculty members, we need to understand that the entire landscape has changed drastically. And how do we as educators remain relevant when most of what we teach is anyways available everywhere, right? So, I mean, in a typical classroom, if you're delivering content using PPT, using some examples on the whiteboard, blackboard, chances are that a large part of that video is already there, up on the web. And what and the other important part is in most of the cases is actually free. You don't even have to pay, anything to access that content. So we as educators, as higher education institutions, as people, who make a living out of this teaching, and it's a calling really. I mean, teaching as a profession, I think almost all of us are here because this is something that we really want to do. We really want to make a difference. We really want to mold people's lives, make them career and life ready. So I think this change should, I'm sure it's already made us a lot of us think as to how do we remain relevant in the system. Now, the second way this technology has made a difference is that geography as well as the socio-economic background of the candidate, and think about it. I mean, that has become immaterial. So, I mean, people from far off locations have access to the best of education. You take Harvard, Wharton, Stanford, universities in Europe, Australia, their professors, have made content, uploaded it on the web, and people have access to it. In fact, I can tell you, right, we at Jindal Global Business School, we have 2 online MBA programs. One is an MBA in analytics, one is an MBA in digital finance. And we get candidates from far off locations from Africa, US, Europe, Asia, of course, right, who have enrolled in our programs, which was never the case before. I mean, in a traditional, brick and mortar, traditional classrooms, there is a limit to, how far you get the candidates from, right? So as an Indian institution in Delhi NCR location, so we used to get, people from all across India, definitely, and to some extent outside. But these online programs have given us an unprecedented reach. And, that is true for, all the institutions. So technology has made this geography as well as and the reason why I say socioeconomic background also is because, most of this content, if you think about it, and, there is some concept called stackability. I'll just quickly come to it. But the point of the matter is that most of this content is either free or available at a, much lower price points, even with, so-called premium Ivy League institutions. And therefore, people who couldn't afford it for a variety of reasons couldn't go there. They have access to it. So, for us in academics, that should make us think as to, going forward, how do we keep on, adding value? So that's the first aspect. Of course, technology is, bringing in changes in a variety of different other ways. But, these two are, I think, the most prominent. Of course, the fact that content is a commodity. It's like cement. It's like sugar, right? I mean, brands really don't matter because, content is there. Everyone has it and people have access to it. And the second issue is that, geography as well as the socioeconomic backgrounds of people, and this is a positive development, I would say, has become immaterial, right? So, technology has, made the world flat, if I use Tom Friedman's, words. The second thing is the focus on skills vis-a-vis an academic degree, right? And I'm just talking about primarily, what is the paradigm shift that's happening, in the education sector. So the second thing is, as I said, the focus on skills versus an academic degree. Now, of course, all of us, right, are at institutions that take pride in our academic programs, the way we, have conceptualized it, have curated these degrees and deliver, content, add value to students, lives, making them career ready. But, the situation is this, and I'm sure many of you, would agree that, gone are the days when merely having an academic degree would land you a job. And market is flooded with candidates who have, degrees, masters, PhDs, and they're still looking for jobs. In fact, there have been multiple media reports, in the newspapers wherein, you have people with academic degrees, but, they're the unemployment rates are high. So the point of the matter is that the degree needs to add value. And as academic institutions, we need to keep thinking of ways of how an academic degree adds value to people's lives to make them life and career ready. So what exactly does it mean for higher education institutions? But more importantly, what does it mean for the teachers? And I'm sure many of you who teach in a variety of different programs in different institutions. What does it mean for you to remain relevant? And these kind of refresher courses, as I said, that is being done by Ramanujan College. I think this needs to be appreciated, because as academics, we need to be sure that we continuously hone our skills, right? We remain in that learning loop so that we remain relevant going forward. So what does it mean, really? Given a few of the shifts that I discussed previously. Now, first, of course, is that as educators, as teachers, we need to keep innovating, adopting new pedagogies to differentiate ourselves, from much of the shift that I talked about before, right? Because even if we talked about online education, the difference vis-a-vis physical classrooms and brick and mortar institutions is that you have a captive audience right there in the classroom. And how do you leverage that opportunity to make sure that you achieve learning objectives on a regular basis, right? And as educators, what that essentially means is that you've got to adopt newer methods to deliver these learning outcomes, right? This content. Now that could take the shape of simulations, that could take the shape of experiential exercises, gamification, focus on classroom discussion, case method, rather than just relying on a PPT deck, or rather than just relying on a blackboard or whiteboard, which are, of course, they are at the bedrock of how you deliver content, very important. But the idea is that you keep on adopting these newer pedagogies, newer methods, to make sure that the learning objectives of the course and the program, right, are delivered on an hourly, daily, monthly, and yearly basis. I think that is very important. So as educators, we need to keep innovating, keep experimenting to make sure that, that kind of newer interventions are happening as part of your courses. So that's very important. As teachers, I think, we should be on top of that. In fact, at the B School here at Jindal University, we are always looking for innovations in pedagogy, for example, software simulations, case method, games, whether virtual or physical, are a mandatory component of every program. So, of course, major part of the course delivery happens through PPT decks, happens through, textbooks, case methods. So that's already there. And I'm, not even saying that it's not important. So, don't take me wrong. But what I'm saying is that we need to add other innovative methods to not only make sure that, the students remain interested, right, but also to differentiate from completely online content, because those have certain sort of limitations that I'm sure in a physical environment we can compensate. The second important theme that I would like to talk about for us teachers and educators is when we do so. First of all, of course, the idea is that you keep on doing topical and rigorous research. I think as academics, that is something which is extremely important, irrespective of which area necessarily we belong to, right? So, of course, the idea is to keep on doing topical research, impactful research. But the second, major aspect of doing research is how much of this research is actually coming back to our classrooms. How much of this research is actually we are able to integrate in our curriculum, right? Now, of course, publishing Scopus papers or ABDC, ABS ranked papers, or academic papers peer-reviewed or otherwise, that is something important. And many institutions now in India have understood the importance of doing, research. I think that's a very welcome step. But in order to make sure that it's actually impactful, that, all this research, all these papers are making an impact somewhere. I mean, who's reading these papers, right? Beyond a certain, group of academics, what impact these papers are actually making? So is it only about, keep on making a list of, what's your citation score, but is it going beyond? And that brings to me a larger question of, what is the impact of this academic research that we're doing? I think, that's an important question that we all should, deliberate. We are certainly, at JGPS, we've been deliberating that, and it takes a lot of effort. I'm sure, Professor Agarwal would agree that in order to do research, this entire ecosystem, you've got to give faculty free time, resources, support to do quality research, right? I mean, it's resource intensive, financial and otherwise. So if so much effort is going towards making this research happen, somebody's got to ask the question that what's the impact this research is actually making? And one of the ways, we have been, at least certainly at JGPS, we've been deliberating about, this question because, as I said, we are one of the top B schools in India as far as, research is concerned. So we are doing great research. So now we are grappling with ways as to how do we bring this research into our classrooms to make sure that the content is, absolutely cutting edge, and it is informed by the latest know-how, whether in operations or marketing or finance or accounting or strategy or international business. And if you think about it, it serves a variety of different purposes. One is, of course, that you are actually making a real world impact, grassroots level impact, by telling your students about the latest know-how, the latest developments there. Right? I mean, that's in itself, I think it's extremely important, right? So how many students and what's the impact of that particular paper? The second way is that this way you really differentiate yourself from, a variety of other, institutions. And, I talked about these tectonic shifts in the academic industry with the, technology. So if you're a brick and mortar institution, you have invested heavily in the infra, you're providing support to your faculty. So that in itself, is a major differentiator, because your faculty is teaching latest, knowledge, tools and techniques in that particular area, right? And your students obviously, are benefiting from that. So this impact ecosystem of academic research, whether it's, practitioner-oriented journals or they are, more theory-based journals, or it's coming from empirical data. So, that kind of a debate, that kind of an understanding, I think is, very crucial. I think the third way, in which we as educators sort of, need to change with the changing times and the changing needs of the industry is to bring in more industry collaborations as part of the curriculum, right? Now, whether that takes the shape of, certifications, industry projects, internships, guest lectures, right? It can take a variety of different shapes, but it's extremely crucial, especially, for a B school like us. And that's why we place a lot of emphasis on these different activities, is that how do you make your students who are attending these academic programs more industry ready, right? So are they able to hit the ground running when they graduate? Are they able to answer the needs of the corporates of the industry, what they're really looking for in the candidates? So in addition to the degree, of course, which is, whatever we teach, but it's crucial that, we as educators train them for what actually is the real ask, from the industry via a variety, of different ways. So of course, there are multiple, other aspects that we can certainly talk about, but, given the limited time, I would stop here. But just to summarize, I think what I discussed about very briefly is, this paradigm shift that's happening not only in the Indian, but, worldwide, I think, the education sector. And this is especially relevant for the higher education sector. First, we talked about technologies and how technology is really, changing the entire sort of nature of the industry. By, the first thing that we discussed is that content is essentially, available everywhere. It's become a commodity, and therefore, we as educators sort of, and we as institutions where we have invested heavily in our infrastructure, we need to be at the forefront of innovation to make sure that we provide other value added services in order to make sure that the learning journey of our students is much more productive by bringing in different innovations. First, via pedagogy, right? Second, by bringing in different innovations in how we deliver the content. The second, we talked about that because of this technology, the geography as well as the socioeconomic backgrounds of the candidates, is becoming irrelevant, right? And that has far-reaching, impact for educational institutions, for teachers like us. The third we talked about is the focus on skills, in addition to, of course, the academic degree, and the fact that students need to be ready for these different career pathways that they are interested in. The reasons why they took admission in the academic program in the first place. So the academic degree, in addition to whatever good things we are doing, it needs to sort of enhance its value proposition, if you will. For teachers, that means that in pedagogy we need to bring improvements, whether through simulations, experiential exercises, gamification, case method, whatever different tools and techniques relevant to a functional area. These perhaps could be more suited to a management program, but of course there are other programs that need to do similar intervention. The second, of course, is that we talked about research. First, we talked about the importance of research, meaning that the faculty is involved in the creation of latest know-how in that particular area. But more importantly, we also talked about that as institutions, as teachers, faculty members, we need to integrate the research, with our curriculum more closely. So there needs to be a systematic, strategic effort to make sure that whatever research output we are producing, that gets back to our classrooms. I think that's, and ultimately benefiting our students. So we close the loop that way, and thereby impacting our students in a positive manner. And third, of course, we talked about industry collaborations via certifications, industry projects. We talked about internships, guest lectures, variety of different ways in which we can tap into this very important component, wherein we're trying to sort of answer the key ask of the industry, and therefore benefiting our students in a positive manner. So on that note, I've spoken enough. I guess it's time to stop. So I'll hand it over to Ms. Parul to take it forward.
Thank you, Mayank-ji. And I think two perspectives have come very well this morning. One, thorough professional chartered accountant, Dr. Sanjeev Singhal, both academician and professional, and you, thorough academician as well as practitioner. So I think you have set the tone for this program, because not only you explained and then you reviewed it, that what you have talked to. So probably the young minds, young teachers must understand that these are the focus areas, like paradigm shift, innovation pedagogy, impact on our classroom of the research, skills, integrating skills with our general education, and the importance of industry collaboration. And our professional friend talked about the case study method and other aspects. So Thank you very much. Over to Parul.
Thank you, sir.
We can take few questions if there are any in chat box.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Professor Mayank. You've rightly elaborated that we have to continuously work on our techniques and methods that we use in the classroom in order to make our teaching effective. Also, at the same time, whenever we carry out research, it has to be constructive research and just not for the namesake. If you permit, sir, can I take few questions?
Yeah, of course. Please.
And Mayankji, let me tell you, I have also been trained in Jindal School of Management, University of Texas at Dallas. Of course, it came later because I was trained way back in 1986 to 90. So later on, it became, Jindal School of Management. Yeah.
Good to know yourself.
Yeah. Go ahead, Parul.
So we've got a question. How can information abundance be made fruitful in academic aspects?
Wow, I think that's a great question. I think, by information abundance, what I would, understand is that the content and the information is available in a variety of different platforms, right? And what that means is that people to some extent are also becoming immune to getting, if you just look at the just sheer amount of data that a single person generates on a daily basis via Facebook, WhatsApp, emails, voice, text, that's massive, right? And that's true for the academic content, that's true for news. There is so many news channels, so much of information just flowing through. You just got to open any social media app, any news app, and you'll be flooded with information. So I think there are 2-3 aspects here. I think one, as academic institutes, we need to make sure that we are able to segregate what actually is constructive and important and try to deliver to our students in an interesting manner, right? That is number one. Number two is that content in itself is history, right? It's important, but it's available everywhere. So students are certainly not coming to you to get information. They have it already. Okay, my 7-year-old daughter, I think she generates herself a lot of information. The classes are online, the assignments that she submits. So all of that is there. So I think, we need to have a rethink about how do we add value in terms of our academic program. So that is something that is, really important.
Thank you so much, sir. So another question, that how collaboration with academic institutions in regional and with institutions at regional or rural level can be done?
Wow. Okay. Regional and rural. I think, that is something which is, I think it needs a bit more time to explain. It's a very important question. So I think when you talk about collaborations in academic institutions, we have a lot of collaborations, as part of our commitment to our students, as a global university. We are OP Jindal Global University, Jindal Global Business School. So, we do a lot of international collaborations because, that's part of our commitment. In fact, at the B School, we have around 130 collaborations with many institutions across 5 continents, including the Wharton School, which of course is an Ivy League institution, and many other institutions, US, Europe, Australia. At a regional and rural, I think as education institutions, you need to put, there needs to be a strategic thought process as to what you're trying to do, right? As part of the learning objectives of the academic program. So when you talk about collaborations, there can be collaborations with industry partners. There can be collaborations with education institutes within your region, state, within the country. But I think it needs to be closely aligned with the learning objectives of the program that you offer, as well as the competency goals that you think your students should have, who are obviously, participating in that program. So, at a program level, what do you want your students to achieve after the end of 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, right? And which academic or industry players can help you achieve those objectives. So when you're going for the regional or a state level collaboration, whether with the industry or with those different academics, those kind of collaborations need to answer these strategic questions as to what exactly you're trying to do or achieve with the academic program that you're offering. So I don't know, but I hope that helps answer that question, Ms. Paul.
Yes, sir. So I'll take one more question, one last question. Can technique of simulations be used in all types of courses?
Okay. See, my experience has been that when you talk about simulations, these are computer software, whether online or on the, installed on the desktop, that you use to achieve certain learning objectives. Now, I, as a strategy professor, I teach innovation, I teach, strategy, I teach entrepreneurship. So I believe, these kind of courses. So when you're trying to include simulation in your courses, first of all, that kind of a simulation should be available out there, right? Now, with advances in technology, with all the innovations happening, I'm happy to note that there are now a variety of different, simulations available in the market. But is that available for every course with different learning objectives? Probably not. I think, we shouldn't include simulations just for the sake of it, right? And perhaps, what I would suggest and I would, say is that perhaps it not even be advisable to do it for every course, but at a program level, like it's a 3-year program, 4-year program, it's a 5-year program, it's a 2-year program. So at a program level, certainly for some courses where there is a direct fit between the learning objectives of that particular course and the learning objectives that the students can get as part of the simulation, if there is a close alignment, then of course that simulation can be included. But it will certainly not be advisable to do it for every course. I think simulation is just one of the pedagogy that you can use. As I said, there are experiential exercises, gamification, case study method, of course the normal PPT. Sometimes I take my students out on the ground and design certain activities to drive home certain learning outcomes. So there are a variety of tools and techniques that a teacher, an instructor like us can use to make sure that you achieve those learning objectives. So not for every course, certainly not. I think that's not even advisable.
Thank you so much, sir. I think those were all the questions. And I thank you once again for finding time for us from your busy schedule. Thank you for the wonderful and insightful session.
Thank you, Ms. Parul. Thank you, Professor Agarwal, everyone here. The team is absolutely fantastic. Ramanujan College is doing great work. Thank you for inviting
me. We'll do some meaningful work, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I now request our Program Director, Professor Keynote, to address the participants and shed some light on the rules regarding this 2-week refresher program. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Parul. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Lata.
Honorable Chief Guest, CA Dr. Sanjeev Kumar Singhal, an eminent member of our Internal Quality Assurance Cell of Ramanujan College. He's also partner at SR Batley. Keynote speaker, Professor Mayank Dondial, Professor and Dean Jindal Global Business School, our Principal Professor SP Agarwal. Dear participants and the organizing team, a very warm welcome to each one of you to this 14 days FDP on commerce and management. Although we are a relatively young college, yet over the years, Ramanujan College has carved a niche for itself in the academic universe of India. The NAAC grade of A++ with CGPA score of 3.71 is a recent and very colorful feather in our cap. Our college has emerged as a hub where novel ideas, innovations, and desire to do things differently fervently throb at the heart of all activities. Pursuing the same ethos and practice, this faculty development program on commerce and management has been organized. Like Professor Mayank Dondial said, we have to continuously hone our skills to remain relevant. And hence, this FDP is visualized as a vehicle for introducing new approaches, vistas, and topics to the academia of our country at large in the areas of teaching, pedagogy, and research. We've tried to include as many as these possible so that teachers and young minds are benefited. The FDP addresses the teachers in the field of commerce and management and focuses on providing them an introduction to areas which are yet to be dealt with in depth and widely by academic scholars and practitioners. It's also aimed at initiating the teachers into a process of reflection on how they could look at this discipline of commerce and management from a new perspective and from a new, different prism. The program is to make the participant, we are not claiming that we'll make you an expert, but to make him or her reflect, think, and consider how we need to treat our subject, which could be more fruitful for all stakeholders, teachers, students, scholars, researchers, and practitioners in the society at large. Before I hand over the charge to Parul, I would also like to tell the participants about the rules of this program, a quick look at the rules, and the rules will be participated. I'm also observing that many of you are facing problems for enrolling into the course. All your mails will be, all your queries will be answered. Please mail us at the official mail ID that's mentioned in the brochure. So please mail to us and please patiently wait for the answers. You all will enroll, and for the time being, let us wind up this inaugural and then we'll get back to enrolling you all into the course. It will not be a problem. Whatever problems you are facing will be listened to and all the queries will be solved. About the rules, the daily assignments, quizzes, activities that all you are requested to participate, they have to be finished by the given deadline as indicated on the portal. And all of you have to compulsorily join the Telegram group because that is the only way of communicating to you. So it is either the portal or the Telegram. So you have to join the Telegram for the up-to-date information from the organizing team. Participants will have to score minimum required marks set for the assignment, quizzes, and activities. The participants must attend all the online live sessions, which are very few and which are generally in the afternoon, except for the inaugural and the valedictory. Participants will have to ensure internal internet facility at their end. The organizers will not be responsible for any internet-related issues at the participants' end. Just one day exemption will be granted. You can choose that day. The final test on the decided day is compulsory and no exemption shall be given for it. In case of any issues, again, I'm reiterating, please write a mail at the official ID given in the brochure. We will revert back to you as soon as possible. No other means of handling queries will be entertained. It is compulsory, again, for you all to join the Telegram group. So please make it easy and convenient for us also. All the FAQs, schedules, and other related information shall be posted on Telegram group as well as on the portal. So kindly join the Telegram group and make it very convenient and easy for you also. So over to you, Parul, now.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think for smooth functioning and for smooth learning experience, we should follow all the rules and regulations as elaborated by ma'am, and all the problems will be handled. With this, we come to the end of the program, but I would request our organizing secretary here to deliver the formal vote of thanks. I'll call upon Ms. Sonia to do that for the inaugural session. Over to you, Sonia.
Thank you, Paruna. Good morning once again. Greetings from Ramanujan College. It's my privilege to propose a formal vote of thanks on this occasion. I, Sonia Mudel, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to Dr. C.A. Sanjeev Sehgal for accepting our invitation as chief guest and giving such an insightful lecture related to the themes New Avenues of Research in Commerce and Management, Ethics to Build a Strong Nation, ICT, Excel, Financial Modeling, Sensitive Analysis, IFRS, NEP. I'm sure all the participants have been a lot through these real-life case study examples. Thank you once again, sir. I would like to extend my thanks to Professor Dr. Mayank Dondial, who have honored us to be a keynote speaker of the refresher course. You rightly pointed out that how we moved from an information scarcity to information abundance. How do we keep on adding value through focusing on skills? And what is the impact of academic research on the entire ecosystem? Thank you, sir, for this wonderful session. I would also take this opportunity to thank our principal, Professor S.P. Agarwal, for always being a source of inspiration and being a mentor and guide throughout the refresher course. I extend my gratitude to Professor K. Lata, Program Director, for being a constant guide and support. Ma'am, this program would not be possible without your endless efforts in micromanaging the entire refresher course. Now, I would like to extend my thanks to the entire organizing team of the refresher course who have put in a lot of hard work. Professor K. Lata, Program Director, Ms. Parul Yadav, Convener of the program, for managing all the affairs of the program, Dr. Rajiv Nayan, Assistant Professor, Dr. Aarti Yadav, Assistant Professor, for managing the LMS platform, Dr. Abhishek Kumar for managing the queries on mail, Dr. Nikhil Rajput and Dr. Vipin Rathi for providing the technical support of the LMS, Mr. Akhil Raj, Mr. Sanchit, Mr. Prashant, Mr. Vinod for providing all the TLC resources, Mr. Rajesh Yadav and for account support, Mr. Anil Yadav for editing and uploading the recorded videos, Mr. Ravinder Bisht for managing the live sessions and creating the Zoom links. I also would like to thank all the resource persons of the program. This program would not be conceptualized without your immense contribution for recording the sessions and would take the live sessions later on. I thank and congratulate all the participants for the active participation. I hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Over to you, Parul.
Thank you so much, Sonia. I'd like to extend my thanks to Ms. Sonia as well. She's with the organizing secretary. With this, we come to the end of the program. The next session would also be a live session. So as and when we start with the live session, a link would be shared to you on the Telegram group. So I would request everyone to join through that link. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Parul. Thank you, Sonia.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Akhil, you may stop the recording now.